Oh,
Howdy.
howdy. Hey, we're back from spring break.
Yeah. I'm kind of sad because I liked being on spring break. I wasn't at work.
Yeah? What did you do?
I had to go to Phoenix and I started my half sleeve tattoo. Oh, yeah. And then I also went to my family's cabin.
Let's see the tattoo.
Okay.
I know we're doing tattoos on audio.
I know. It's like, well, it's not finished yet, though.
Okay.
But it's going, the solar system.
Oh.
And then it's just my Taurus and then a peace sign on the underneath layer because I didn't want it all to be just space under there. That would be too much.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so it's springtime, and I guess we're back to mass shootings again. We had, 8 in Atlanta at 3 massage parlors and 10 in Boulder, Colorado at a supermarket.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can't go anywhere anymore, right? I mean, I don't even know what to say anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like last week was the 3rd anniversary of March for Our Lives. And, a little bit of history on that. If people have heard us talk about this before. We, after Parkland, there's a gun nut here in Kingman who wrote an article in the local paper about, how we can tell you an AR-15. I could tell you an AR-15 doesn't stand for assault rifle. I could tell you
every
cliche.
Excuses. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we decided to write one back in the same form.
But we can tell you.
We can tell you. Yeah. And
No, there's no could about it, we can tell you.
I still have that article somewhere, and we should...
So do I. I have it saved, I think in my file cabinet.
But we made the record for the most comments, feedback on Facebook.
Why did we piss some people off with that one?
Oh, they hated us. And it's a good thing you go by Snow, because nobody can look you up, but people look me up, and they were threatening me at a former employer of mine.
Yeah, and the only reason that I go by Snow and not my real name on Facebook is there are certain people that I don't really want finding me from my past, so I kind of created a different persona so I could still be on Facebook and connect with people that I want to connect with and see the local events. But, I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't even been on Facebook that much. Ever since I posted my uterus, I'm like, I don't really know what to do after that. I mean, where do you go from there?
You reached your peak?
I'm like, well, and I guess part of me did it on purpose because I get so sick of Facebook, I don't know. I just don't I don't really like Zuckerberg. It's not really so much the people. I mean, it's their page, so they're allowed to post what they want. Yeah, it's tiring seeing how dumb folks are at times. I mean, I'm sure I've said dumb things on there too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just trying to bash people, but I think it's highly irresponsible to allow so much misleading content on your site because I think that had a huge play in the insurrection at the Capitol too.
Well, not only that, the last election,
right?
It started there.
Yeah, well, and the insurrection started from that because it was fraudulent. We robbed, all that kind of crap, and they did nothing. They just allowed for it to happen. It's almost like they bent over backwards for those fucking idiots, Yeah.
So after we had written that article shortly before the March for Our Lives protest here in Kingman, which was actually well attended, and we got some notoriety there. I had somebody come up to me, and I thought I was anonymous, but somebody came up to me and said, "Yeah, I heard you wrote that article." And I was like, "Yeah, how did you know?" But you had the best comment. Actually, it was me that somebody came up to me and said,
Yeah, you made me cry because you go, some lady just came up to us and said because of the article, her husband had finally registered to vote and registered as a Democrat. And I'm like, I can't even talk right now. I can't even talk right now. I'm so beklemmed. I was just like, are you kidding me?
and that made it all worth it.
It did. I felt like I'm getting all emotional right now talking about it, but I was like, you know what? They always say that too. Like, if I can at least change or change one person's mind a little or help a person, then it's all worth it. It fucking was worth it for that.
Yeah. And obviously nothing changed after that, as far as I don't know why the conversation about gun control can't be a conversation, because it's never a conversation.
Right. And why is it always like when the mass shooting happens, it's like, now is not the time to discuss. No, now is the fucking time, because it just happened. And then it just happened again. And you guys don't realize that every time you brush us off, then it just happens again. It's like, never is a good time to discuss any kind of gun control with you folks, And I'm speaking of like the gun nuts. Not all of the folks on the right, but a good majority of them, it like you won't have a conversation like.
Well, I think a product of that is in the social media age, things fly by so quickly. Like, hasn't anybody forgot about Pepe Le Pew and Potato Head and Dr. Seuss by now? Because we're not talking about that anymore.
Well, not somebody up at the cabin that we
Oh.
we went for our walks every day, and there was a truck, like a big, huge dually truck, and on one window they had bad Mr. Seuss, Dr. Seuss, bad Dr. Seuss on one window painted, and then the other one it said bad Mr. Potato Head. And so they were outside one day because we walked past their house and saw it, and I made sure to say kind of loud, I'm like, why isn't it bad Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head? See, it's all like, they can't even include women in that. Like, I'm like, don't they realize that it got changed to Potato Head because it was no genders? I'm like, see, you guys don't even understand the type of people that you are.
Yeah, so 2 mass shootings. The one in Atlanta seemed to be targeted to Asian women on it. It was probably a guy who would...
And then they tried to say, but then the argument was the guy said he was like sexually frustrated because of his religion. Like, so clearly he's an incel, that feels bad about masturbating or whatever, or I guess, I don't know. Didn't he say that he, like, no one wanted to have sex with him or something? I can't remember the whole story, but I'm like, but my thing is like, because people are saying, well, he would have killed any women. He would have killed, whatever nationality of women instead. And it's like, yeah, but he went to 3 different
Asian massage parlors.
Yeah, like, I don't know how that's not considered somewhat of a hate crime too. Yeah, maybe it is a hatred towards women, but why were Asian women targeted?
Well, yeah, I mean that's a tricky one, because with the whole coronavirus, and you had the president out there saying it was the Wuhan flu or Kung flu,
Yeah,
and stuff like that. Words matter, and
right. There's a guy at my work. Like, we were talking about this. I was talking about this too recently. Like, he uses the term like China flu and China Joe and all this stuff. I'm like, should I fucking turn this motherfucker in? Because, I mean, I don't know if he's going to go fucking nuts. I know he's got a lot of guns and he talks like that, but it's like, at what point, like, do I start doing something because nothing will be done? I'm like, should I just start turning people in randomly, anonymously? Like, be like, hey, you might want to look into this person because
Well,
they say shit like that. They talk like that too. How do you know that somebody's going to go nuts?
well, yeah. I mean, attacks against the Asian community have gone up in the last year or so,
Right.
and by direct connection to the coronavirus. Yeah, it's just such a tricky thing, trying to talk about gun control. I mean, even I went through a recent situation of gun violence, and I can say something now because it's over with, that I was shot at and the person got off scot-free, and you just said, hey, I didn't intend to shoot him. I just shot at him, and the person got off.
He's like Dick Cheney, dude.
And I guess I get the argument that, well, in order to have your guns taken away, you have to be convicted of something, but it's just such a slippery slope, I guess. And the tough thing is, I'm not anti-gun per se.
I don't know. Well, okay, so what do they do? Because I don't think I understand them taking a gun, like in the crime that was involved, right? So they take that gun, but I don't think they do have the right to go into somebody's house and just take all of their guns, right?
No, unless
Like,
unless you're convicted of some kind of.
But I've never
gun
even heard of
violence
them
thing.
doing that though, like going in and.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know a whole lot
Well,
of people.
if you're convicted
who've done
felon,
that.
if you're convicted of a felony, you can't have guns.
Right, you can't ever get new ones.
Oh, but do they take away the old ones?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think they have the right to just go into people's house and be like, "Look, we're gonna go through your shit and make sure we've got all your guns." So.
I guess. Well, in the case that I was in, I mean, it's hard to prove intent. And the same thing with in the Atlanta case, it's hard to prove it was an intentional hate crime.
Well, they need to investigate it more before that cop just comes out and says, "This was not a hate crime. This is just this guy was frustrated and blah blah." Like, really?
Yeah.
You feel like, what? Are you not getting laid too, sir? Like, you're feeling real sympathy for this guy? I mean, I don't get it.
Well, like the South Carolina church shooter, they took him out for McDonald's or some
It
kind
was
of fast
Burger
food.
King, yeah. Yeah,
right
they
after
did.
shooting.
They fed him.
And you wouldn't have that if it was a person of a different color.
No, they'd be like slammed in the back of the vehicle. Like, there was a guy that died that way. I forget. Was it Michael Brown? The guy that died in the back of the police wagon.
Oh, wasn't that the one in Baltimore? There's
See,
so many of them.
There's so many. Like,
Michael Brown was St. Louis, and he got shot.
okay. See, I can't even get the story straight. It's so sad. So sad that this is our country,
So we were talking about this off air, and one point of maybe hammering home what these mass shootings are is maybe you show it. Maybe you show what happens to a person in a mass shooting.
Right.
Because I get the fact, what is an assault rifle? You have to define it. And yes, AR-15 doesn't stand for assault rifle. But it's always that type of weapon that's used just because of the ammunition that this is capable of firing and the rate that it fires. It's an efficient gun for killing people.
Right. It's like, why is the AR-15 always the common denominator? Usually. Because I think that the Atlanta shooting, I think he used a handgun, didn't he? I don't think it was an AR-15. But still, why is majority of the time, why do mass shooters select the AR-15? I mean, I get that some people really want to have and keep their AR-15s, okay, and they're not going to go out and commit mass shootings. But I'm asking you folks, I'm sure you're not listening, but why do they choose that then? Like, and I want you to just tell me why. Don't sit there
And
no bullshit. Like, but why is that one always the most common gun used?
now I get like the people that like to shoot for fun, that it's a fun gun to shoot. You know, say you're out, you know, go out in the desert and just blow up some shit. Yeah, it's a fun gun. But as far as a gun for protection around your house, no, it's not really that great. You know,
You want your house to look like a war zone afterwards? I mean, my God.
I think a shotgun would be a better alternative for just a handgun in a close situation like that.
Well, like, don't they all have the ability to kill people? I mean, you could even kill people with the 22.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. I mean, and then it's like, what are they thinking of when they're going out and shooting all the targets? What are they thinking about hitting when they do it?
Well, the excuse is, you know, you don't want to take on in case the government loses its mind and comes after us. You keep the tyrannical government under control, you know, but their weapons would just wipe us out.
But that's such an irritating phrase to me too. This all gets so exhausting because I'm like, you guys scream about a tyrannical government. We are the fucking government. We're supposed to be the government. It's supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And if more of you fuckheads would get off your lazy asses and be involved and be like, no, we're not going to give up our government to the corporations and we're not going to do this, then you wouldn't be so unhappy and you wouldn't have to clutch your fucking guns all day long.
Right. And what this does, being the capitalist society we're in, is whenever there's a gun violence, mass shooting, what do people do? They run out and buy more AR-15s because they think they're going to get banned.
Yeah, the gun industry makes a killing off of it.
And that's why the NRA lobbies the senators to keep them in the back pocket.
You know, the NRA used to be for gun control at one point. Yeah, and then they went like, no, they went more for like the gun manufacturers. And they were in the pockets of them.
The other thing that was dispelled in Boulder was the good guy with the gun argument.
Oh, that is my fucking, that's got to be their worst argument ever. That's what I say. I'm like, okay, hey guys, you know what? We're all looking for a solution to this problem. So yeah, I'd like to get on board with your fucking idea of what we need is more guns and more good guys with guns. When the fuck is that going to happen? When? Because we have more guns in the United States than we have people. So how have we not met the fucking quota yet? How has it not happened?
Well, yeah, it's like that. Again, we were talking about this off air, but like the Flight 93, you know, why didn't people take down the hijackers? It was just a box cutter, so why didn't a good guy tackle that guy before they crashed the plane?
Yeah, I know, and that is like it's such a sensitive subject to talk about, you know, because who knows what anyone would have done in that situation. We can all sit there and analyze it now, but it is a good point in showing that, guys, sometimes I think people think that because they've seen all these heroic movies where the hero saves the day, but that's not real life. Like, that's not what happens when people are really in a situation like that. That has been rehearsed and written, and, you know, so
yeah, I mean,
I don't think we've heard, I should really look into this because now it's got my wheels turning.
Well,
if there's been hijacks that have been taken over by people on planes, because hijacking a plane was really common throughout the 80s, remember?
70s, 80s.
The 70s too?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, you know what? I should look into that.
It's a miracle that nothing has been there hasn't been like any major hijacking since. I mean, there might have been one or two. I guess it was. I can remember one. Since
I guess the TSA is really working.
Well, see, regulations.
I'm just kidding.
Regulations work.
They proved like on that show Adam Ruins Everything. He ruins the TSA, but who knows? Maybe the idea of it does make more people who would normally try to bring things on that they shouldn't be, makes them like more fearful. Maybe just the thought of it, and they don't do it. I don't know.
A few years ago, I went to go see Jim Brewer in Wickenburg, and he was talking about the same thing. Like
wait a second, he went to Wickenburg?
He went to Wickenburg. Wicken. I sound like Boston. Wicken.
Why?
He played a college there. I don't know
There's
why.
a college in Wickenburg?
Yeah.
Maybe they have a community college.
Well, anyway, I had met Jim years ago, and I go down there, and he remembered me because at the time I was unemployed, and he left me front row tickets and so I walk in, and they're like, who are you? Jim Brewer. And I'm just like, oh, I met him years ago. Anyway, he comes out, he does this bit about guns in Wickenburg, clearly not knowing his audience, because it was...
Wickenburg's really conservative.
Yeah.
They've got the billboards up all the time.
So he comes out and he does this bit about how, well, I need the guns for protection and you're not going to take them from me. And he goes, well, what you don't know, it's going to be some 19-year-old flying a drone that comes and takes you out. And
right.
The joke fell flat, obviously. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody all serious, like, giving him dirty looks and stuff. And I was actually laughing because of just how the reaction. Okay. I was laughing at the reaction, going, clearly, Jim, you didn't research the audience here. But, I mean, that's true, though. I mean, they say that you need these guns in case, the government, keep the government under control. Right. But, no, we would just get...
That's what I've always said. I'm like, if the government wanted to take your guns, they'd fucking have them. They don't want to. They're not going to. It's a fear tactic to get lower educated folks to vote for. I hate to say it that way, but Donald Trump was right about that when he said, I love the poorly educated. They'll fucking fall for shit like that. They will. It's so sad. It's like they'll be like, no, I don't. Some of these folks are like, no, I don't want better pay and benefits. As long as I can have my guns. And it's like, but if you had better pay, couldn't you buy more of the things that you love, sir? Like,
you notice how also
logic.
Because we're kind of jumping all around the subject, but you notice how the Blue Lives Matter people are silent when it comes to the shooting in Boulder, and they were silent with the officer that died during the insurrection. When normally, if say
why aren't they mad that the good guy officer with the gun died? Why aren't we hearing outrage from them, like them saying this is uncalled for?
But if it was some officer that pulled over an inner city thug and got shot, they would post, on their Facebook page, hey, Blue Lives Matter, this officer. And the officer in Boulder had 5 kids.
Well, should we then take that opportunity to be like, well, okay, let's talk about gun violence then? Because this officer got killed by a thug, so let's talk about gun violence. Should we be like, is this now the time to talk about, okay, because you guys are posting all your stuff now about this stuff, so would now be a good time because now you don't care about you don't care, like you're pissed off at the situation. You finally have some guts in what's the word I'm looking for? Like you finally have something to be mad about in this situation. So fuck yeah, let's get gun control out on the table then. Should we do that then? Should the left start doing that? Being like, look, can we talk about gun violence now then? Is now a good time? Because I see your post. Like, you're mad that people are shooting up the police. Let's talk about that gun control then. Let's talk about it. Let's do it now, because it seems like you want to talk now. Finally.
That never works, though. But the left doesn't really... They always are inappropriate at the times of trying to get stuff done. Like oh God. Like Biden comes out and says that, well, now's the time to ban assault rifles. And I don't really think that's the case. I think what the left should have focused on is, well, let's just do one thing and let's get the universal background check thing passed, which something like 90% of Americans agree with that.
Right. Even Republicans.
But let's just start there. Let's start somewhere. But even then, that won't go anywhere because the argument would be, well, if you do this, then you're going to do that. So I don't think Biden should ever come out and said, well, now's the time to ban assault rifles, because then you get the argument of, well, what's an assault rifle? What's the definition of assault rifle? And
right.
all this other shit.
He probably didn't have time to think better about maybe starting the discussion on it, and he probably just got done seeing the pictures of the mass shooting because the president sees this stuff.
Yeah.
Trump was such a psychotic. I'm sure that it didn't even faze him when he saw pictures of mass shootings.
Well, no, but he said immediately after one of the mass shootings, I think it was Parkland, where he goes, yeah, I believe in take the gun first and due process can come afterwards.
Oh,
and then
that's right,
the
because
NRA
he did
came
get a
after
lot
him.
of shit.
The NRA sat him down immediately after that.
Right.
And he changed his tune the next day.
See, that's why it probably would be productive to do it in a controlled manner and show the public.
I think of it like,
because it's just going to keep going on. Maybe if some people saw.
Yeah. The other thing is, yeah, if you saw it, like when I was in Florida a few weeks ago, I going to Daytona. I stopped in Orlando at the Pulse nightclub, and seeing the Pulse nightclub, and there's still bullet holes. They have glass surrounding the entire building now, but you can see the holes in the doors still, and you can see the holes right near the windows where people were trying to flee the building because they,
I wonder if they left the building as it stands
it looks like
to show people this is what.
Yeah.
We're not going to do anything right now.
Well, it really hits you when you go there and you see all the tributes and you see all the names and you see all the faces, and these are all real people. And the 10 people in Boulder, Colorado, there's the 10 people that left to go to a grocery store, something that we do on a daily basis, and you just leave to go pick up some dinner and you don't come back just because some psycho
is having a bad day.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't use the terrorist logo on this one because he was Syrian.
Yes, but he was, interesting fact about him, he was born in the United States. They can't really sit there and say that. I think he was I think he was born right after the Columbine shooting.
Yeah, he was 21.
Or he was 1 year old when the Columbine shooting happened.
So Here's a fun fact: both shooters were 21 years old.
Yeah.
Both clearly mentally. Who knows what the mental issue they had? But this guy was known in Boulder was known to have mental issues from
Yeah, his
school.
family said that. Well, he also got bullied for being Muslim. Like, I guess he couldn't take that too. Like, he would get bullied in school for being Muslim. It's like, okay, where is the police officer saying that about this kid? Well, no, this kid had an issue of, like they sat there and said that about the kid in Atlanta. And I'm not trying to make excuses for this kid or anything, but look at how different the cases are. Why is that? Why are they willing to like stick their neck out and stick up for a murderer in Atlanta that, oh, well, he's just got sexual issues. But then in this other one, they're not doing that. They're not saying, well, this was someone who was like bullied when he was like bullied his whole life and it really took a toll on his mental capacity. I mean, and I'm not saying that either one should get the excuses, but I'm just saying, look at the difference. Why isn't there an officer coming out and saying that about this one? But the other one,
Well,
they are.
this is why gun control, it's such a hard thing to talk about because there are no easy solutions, but we don't have conversations about it because we just stick to our corners. You have the one side saying, take away the guns. You have the other side saying, no, it's my right. There's so many ways to go with this. I guess it's just time to have a real conversation about it because obviously I don't have the solutions because I'm for people having guns, but I want to keep guns out of the people that shouldn't have them. Now, there's two ways to go about it, and it's not going to stop every single case because the one in Boulder did pass a background check. But universal background checks, closing the gun show loopholes, that's one. It's a step. And the other one is to prioritize mental health care in the United States, which gets swept under the rug every single time. You know, they don't look at mental illness like a real thing. And if help were more readily available to people, and there wasn't such a stigmatism about it in the United States,
I know.
maybe people would.
People need to take that shit seriously.
You know, and
I don't know how they haven't figured out by now that mental illness is real. Like,
clearly,
they're like, hello.
yeah. I mean,
Like, that's another thing where it's like, quit burying your fucking head in the sand, dude.
I think every single person deals with anxiety and depression.
Right.
You know, but a lot of people don't seek
Some
help
of
for
us more than others, like some people should be on medication for their mental health issues, and if they can't get on, I mean, that's one of the things that I thought was so great about the movie Joker. It's like, yeah, I mean, the guy knew most people who are mentally ill know that there's something wrong with them too. And this guy knew that, he's like, what am I supposed to do? He got kicked off of his social services to get his medicine. He's like, what am I going to do without my medicine? And then you just saw him deteriorate more. Now, I know that that's a movie, but I thought that was what made the movie. That is not a fun movie, don't get me wrong. I watched it in the theater.
No, it's disturbing.
And I was disturbed and on the edge of my seat the whole time. And I mean, I had to sit there through all the credits and just be like, holy fuck, what did I just see? And I tried to watch it again when it came out on HBO, and I remember I had to turn it off because I'm like, I don't need to see this again. It's a movie like, you should see it once, but that's enough. Like, because it's sad.
Yeah.
And it's sad because when you take what you see in movies and put it into real life, our country isn't doing anything about mental illness.
Well,
We're
well,
not doing anything
and
to
es-
help people.
and especially, and I'm not going to rag on red states, blue states. This isn't necessarily the point. But in our little area, the mental health care here is poor because the good paying jobs are in the cities. So it's hard to keep good people in the rural communities. You know, I just about the places here, I've had issues dealing with the places here in town, you know, and I don't know if you just had more training, I don't know if it's better pay, you know.
Well, I mean, they're against the majority of the people that I hear talking. I don't think this is the majority of the people per se, but the majority of the people, the voices that I hear about it are like extremely against like the $15 minimum wage thing. And I'm like, that's what we have mostly in this town, or like it's mostly minimum wage type jobs. Think of maybe how much happier people here would be if they did have that $15.
Yeah,
They would be able to take care of their family because
Yeah.
it's a low cost of living here, but they would have like a good life. They wouldn't be so depressed.
The low cost of living is going away because in this particular area, and I'm sure this is going on around the country, that the price of housing keeps on going up, but
And
the
it
wages
has
aren't.
really gone up.
Yeah,
All over. Phoenix was the number one place where home values went up.
Las Vegas was crazy too, and
Yeah.
so people can't afford housing. But at the same time, you can't find housing either right now.
Right.
So
It's hard for people to even rent here.
yeah, I mean, you have a rental, and it gets scooped up like quickly.
I had to finally hide it from the site that I advertised it on because I keep getting calls on it, and I'm like, I changed the date to 2022. I mean, because the person who's renting now asked for a year-long term. I mean, I just do month to month, but she's like, no, I want to be there for at least a year. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'm locked into somebody for like, that's great for me too, you know?
Yeah, so I mean, there's no easy answers for anything we're talking about. That's why we're kind of struggling ourselves with this conversation, but it's a conversation that everybody needs to have without getting locked into your corner. You know, maybe like I said this like about Trump, and I think this was after Las Vegas. You know, like, is now the time that you sit down in a forum, like a town hall, and you just have a conversation between both sides, and you just don't stay in your corner, you know, and you know,
You bring ideas to the table,
Yeah.
at least.
Did you see that? He's the one representative.
I mean, like, because I will say this, my ideas are probably considered more extreme than some folks, but I mean, I also took the liberty of, I like how Stephen Colbert handled it. He handled it better than I could even have said it, but I've said it for years. I'm like, treat guns like cars. Make them get the insurance. And then when that guy, the one from Louisiana,
Yeah.
and then Colbert's like, great idea. He's like, let's do that.
Right.
I'm all for that.
Right.
Let's make people license them. You have to get insurance on them.
Was that Representative Kennedy or Johnson?
It's Kennedy, and he's from Louisiana.
Yeah, Ron Kennedy.
No, Ron Johnson is from Wisconsin.
okay.
The Kennedy one, I can't remember his first name,
Joe
but
Kennedy?
Kennedy is from John Kennedy. I thought he was dead. Joe Kennedy. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. He's from Louisiana.
Yeah, and so he goes, well, we don't take all the cars away from people because certain people drive drunk and get into an accident, so we're not going to take cars away from the people that aren't driving drunk. And that's a great point. You have to have a license to operate a vehicle. You have to register the vehicle. You have to insure the vehicle.
I know. And then somebody, like, I heard the argument too. Someone was like, Yeah, but I don't have to have a license to go buy a car. And then the counter argument was, yes, but you have to have a license to drive it off the lot or to test drive it. You can't.
You have to register it.
Yeah, you can go buy a car all you want, but I don't know how you're going to get it home. I mean, well, you can have it towed to your house, but when are you going to actually be able to use it? Or is that what people do with their guns? Do they just buy them and then like never use them? And is that what they just want a collection?
No,
or
some do. Some do. They just.
I mean, because
go out and shoot them once in a while, but some do just collect guns.
yeah, I'm like living. Well, yeah, like historical guns. I know, but I mean, to sit there and say that gun collectors don't ever shoot guns, I find that hard to believe. I'm not saying that it couldn't happen, but
well. And some of the common sense stuff I'm talking about is like the guy in Las Vegas who he had an arsenal of guns. Now, if you've got 20 AR-15s, say, I don't know,
like, what are you planning on doing? Shouldn't there be a red flag?
Yeah, shouldn't just a little red flag go up and maybe just get interviewed,
just like, why can't we have a conversation? Like, why do you have that many? I mean, what do you run a business where you have people shoot guns, or like why would you possibly need that many?
Well, that goes back to the taking arms up against tyrannical government and well-regulated militia, which can we agree that the Second Amendment is poorly written?
Right. I'm sorry, I can't get on board with the folks though who are like, we need to do this against our government. I can't get on board with it because, like I said, I believe that we are the government. This is our government. And if you're mad about it, the same thing goes. I deal with this with people in the union all the time. They complain about the union like it's some separate entity. I'm like, bitch, you are the union. You pay dues. You are the union. If you don't like what's going on, then maybe you could show up to a fucking meeting, because you never come. All you do is cry, cry, cry.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of...
That sums these folks up. I'm telling you. That's why I don't have respect. And it would be hard for me. Honestly, it would be hard for me to have a town hall, because once I started hearing that argument, I'd be like, I would have to say, government of the people, by the people, for the people. Why do you guys leave this out? If we're going so far back in history to talk about fucking Second Amendment and all that and the Constitution, why in the fuck is this not important to you?
Well, here's the thing, okay, and this gets into the next topic. How come people can break into the Capitol, in the state capitol in Michigan, with firearms, get right in police faces, trying to get to the governor, and nothing happens to them? But in Georgia, where they signed some voting restriction laws this week, Representative Park Cannon went up and she was knocking on the door.
I know the answer to this.
Got arrested.
I know the answer to this.
Did you?
I do.
Okay.
It's a really simple answer, because the people in Michigan were white and Park Cannon is an African-American congresswoman. That's why.
Well, and people don't want to look at it like that.
But that's what it is. Again, stop burying your fucking head in the sand. Stop lying about what this is. This is where I get so irritated with fucking white people, where I'm like, what the fuck, when I have those moments where I am white and I'm like, what the fuck, white people? Why? Why are you acting like this? Why? You see the same fucking shit that we do, but you'll make excuses for it. Stop doing that. It's not fair. And this is why we have the problems that we have, and we can't fucking make friends,
right,
because you guys are holding us the fuck up.
Like,
tell the truth. Tell the truth. That's all I want. Tell the fucking truth.
Like in a rural area, much like we live in, could a person of color go into a subway with an AR-15 strapped to his back?
Fuck no.
And cause a scene?
Fuck no. You know what? I have always... Okay, there used to be this meme that was circulating around, and it was like, And it was circular. It was very popular amongst the Kingman folks, right? And it showed a picture of a guy at a table in a diner, and he had a gun. It was a handgun. It wasn't an AR-15. I mean, it wasn't like, and it said, "Would you feel comfortable being in this restaurant with someone in here like this?" Okay? And it was a white guy that had that on there. And so I made the comment, I put, "Why don't we change the color of the man's skin?" And then what do you say? No one would answer me. No one would answer me. They just pretend like you're not making a comment.
Well, a case in point is during the Black Lives Matter protest last June, all sorts of militia showed up to, quote unquote, air quotes, my fingers, protect
there was
the citizens.
only a band of them, right? And the little girl, "I'm gonna save my life." That's all I remember. And then the parents, the dad was the one that got into, he started a fight with somebody. Remember? He was all spitting, and he's like, "A gun saved my daughter's life."
Did I say March for Our Lives? No, Black Lives Matter.
Oh,
the Black
okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
No. We can go back. We'll go back to that one. During the March for Our Lives protest 3 years ago, people showed up at the courthouse. One had a gun strapped to his back and holding signs, "The gun saved my life." Yeah, and what did you say that to the little kid?
Oh, I asked the dad, because he kept saying, "A gun saved my daughter's life." And he was like getting visibly, remember the picture in the paper? It showed his face, how angry. I mean, whoever snapped that picture did it at the right time. So kudos to you. So no, when he said that, he kept saying it over and over. And I kept thinking, I'm like, what about this sounds familiar? And then so I finally said to the guy, I go, "Sir, if guns don't kill people, but people kill people, then how does a gun save someone's life? Because you're saying a gun saved her life. How did the gun save her life?" And he looked at me puzzled and then walked off and started yelling at somebody else. He wouldn't even answer me.
Was that the guy that shoved the other guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was picking a fight with the older guy.
Yeah, I kind of stepped in to try to get in between them. So I didn't really realize what was going on. I just saw him shove the other guy. But anyway, flash forward to last year in the Black Lives Matter, the militia showed up to, quote unquote, protect the citizens, protect the protesters. But we knew what they were there for. They were there to intimidate people because they were all congregating at the place that sells Confederate flags.
And I think that, which by the way is my neighbor. Interesting fact. I had no idea.
That explains a lot.
My annoying neighbor that I was always like, great.
I thought
the fucking Confederacy has moved in. This guy lives on the corner of my street and proudly flies the Confederate flag.
I thought he just flew it because he was a Dukes of Hazzard fan.
No, he has that whole heritage, not hate. To which I would like to say, anytime I hear that argument of heritage, not hate, so your heritage is owning people? Huh? Like it's disgusting, because when I see that, I'm like, dude, you need to be educated. Let me tell you something. We're going to be getting all over in topics today.
We are.
Okay, my favorite museum that I've ever been to is the National Civil Rights Museum. I've talked about it before on our podcast. It's located in Memphis, Tennessee. Sorry, I have a retainer, by the way, so I'm really trying to work on talking without sounding
sucks to a
suffering,
podcast when you can't talk.
Right? Yeah. So anyways, my favorite museum is in Memphis, Tennessee. The owner of the Lorraine Motel completely converted the Lorraine Motel into the National Civil Rights Museum and preserved Martin Luther King's, The whole outside looks like the motel. And then preserved Martin Luther King's room that he stayed in, room number 306, exactly how it was left when he was assassinated, right? So, but here's the point I'd like to make. When you first go into the museum, the museum starts off in slavery, and the walls have stories on them, but they're wallpapered with classified ads from the newspaper at the time. And so when you go in the first part of the slavery, the classified ads are for people selling people. And it says stuff like, said wench is a top rate seamstress. Okay, and they're selling a person. And then when you make it, so you go all the way through to when slavery ends, and the classified ads change. And they're like, my name is so-and-so. My master's name is whatever the master's name was. I'm trying to locate my family members, and these were their names because they got sold off from each other. And this is what kills me when people are always with this whole Confederacy pride and all this crap. They have no idea of what they're talking about. They have no idea because they don't care, or they don't take the time to go learn stuff. Like, I didn't know that. And like, by the end of that, like, yeah, I was bawling my eyes out because it's sad. Who would you want to have that? Would you want to have had to have found your family members later because they sold you, all broke you apart and sold you? No. No one would.
Well, that kind of leads back into Georgia. Martin Luther King would be, if he was still with us, he'd be old, but what happened in Georgia with the voting restrictions that were passed in the middle of the night, they make it harder in black communities to vote. First, you close all the polling places, which hence creates long lines. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, people are willing to stand in those long lines in order to vote for hours and hours.
Because we have the right.
Now, they make it illegal to hand out water and food to people standing in line to vote.
That is now law in Georgia. You no longer can pass out pizza. Papa John's was giving free pizza to people in the last election that had to stand in line for so long.
Papa John's is
I know, and Papa John's of all places.
Yeah, did you hear about him? He had to go to rehab from saying the N-word. Did you hear?
Right, yeah. I mean, I did not hear that story, but I knew that he was a horrible person. But I think that the only reason it was Papa John's donated because he stepped down as CEO.
He was forced out of his position.
Right, so somebody else is like running things, and those people
trying to make up for the PR.
Don't have the same views as Mr. Papa.
Okay, so not only do you take away, you can't hand out food or water in line. You take away the polling places. Now you can't hand out food and water, so it makes it more miserable to stand in line. You also take away the drop boxes where people could put their ballots in. These ballot boxes are now inside the voting area, but they also cut down the times which you can vote, and it ends at 5 o'clock. Now, if you're working a full-time job, it's going to be hard to get there at 5 o'clock to cast your ballot.
If I'm a person from the outside just looking in on this scenario, how do you not come to the conclusion that something's pretty fucked up if they're going to this extreme of lengths to get people to not vote? Like, what is their fucking motive? Like, why don't people think that way? We need critical thinking.
Because one party knows that they cannot win an election without restricting voting rights.
I know. So that's what I'm saying to normal people. It's like normal, average, everyday citizens who are voters. How can you be on board with these fuckheads that are doing this? Like, obviously there's a reason why they really need to stay in government too. And it's to line their pockets and line their donors' pockets and get out of rich people paying taxes. Like, this is,
Right. So,
wake the fuck
so
up.
shouldn't one party maybe craft their policies to win over voters of a different color then? It would seem like you would want to move more towards the middle so you could win people over to your side.
Right, but they're never coming back. Like, they have decided long ago that they're going to be the party of corporations. My thing is, I don't know how average everyday Americans don't fucking see this shit and don't realize that this is what is fucking killing you. This is what's making your life miserable. It's not minorities. Like, if you ask them, how many fucking minorities do you know anyways? They'd be telling you either a small number or zero. So how in the fuck are those people affecting your lives? They're not. It's the people pulling the strings. And I wish that Democrats would fucking... I wish that Democrats... The thing that pisses me off about the left is they need to grow more fucking balls and stand up. Like the guy that... I forget what it is. Is it Tim Ryan? Is that the guy that... The guy that... I got all verklempt about, the union. He was talking about, yay, we're bringing back, like, we're making it our right. The working people of this country have put up with too much. They've had their pensions cut. That guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, yeah, that needs to be going on every fucking day, as far as I'm concerned, with every issue. Every issue, a Democrat in Congress needs to stand the fuck up and say, they need to be telling the American people what the fuck is going on. We need somebody like that every day, every issue. This is too long. If we want to really do things, if we really want to turn this country around in the right direction and not have it such a fucking corporation, have it actually a country, then we need to fight like hell. Because it's been too many years. Like, the corporation having free reign has been going on. Ronald Reagan basically welcomed the corporations with open arms and fucked the little people.
Yeah, that's when he cut the tax rate.
He did a lot of fucked up shit. A lot. He gutted unions.
He was really looked back fondly of, though, with the Republican Party.
Because it was all a lie. They made him look like a hero because the hostages got released. When no one knew until years later that, yeah, they gave arms in order to do that. They bribed them with weapons. Like, fucking A. What an American.
A little bit here locally, the recall for our mayor fell through because people didn't bother to show up to court to fight it.
Oh my God.
So basically what it boils down to, when you're having people sign political petitions,
you need to follow through?
No, well, you have to sit there and do the work, and you have to sit there and witness the signature to make sure it's valid, and you have to sign off. And what they were doing was they were just leaving these petitions in businesses around town so people could just sign them. So they got plenty of signatures, but the judge threw it out because if the petition, if you don't have somebody watching you sign the petition and you don't validate it correctly, then it gets thrown out. So the anti-mask people didn't bother showing up to court when this went before a judge. Well, actually one did. One of the organizers of it did show up to court, but she was asked to leave because she refused to wear a mask.
Ha ha.
And they're stepping up locally with the vaccinations. We get our second one next week.
Yay, I can't wait. I can't wait to be fully knocked up. Yeah. Go science.
But as our friend Jason Marino says, our Governor Ducey spiked the ball at the 5-yard line just when
Douchey.
douchey.
Please refer to him as douchey.
So he spikes the ball at the 5-yard line. He says, "Hey, all restrictions are lifted. Go about your business." And a local establishment here was having a mask burning party the other day.
Oh, really? They got rid of masks in the entire state of Arizona?
Well, yeah, see, because our fine governor didn't have the balls to make a mask mandate, so he left it up to individual communities. So individual communities
No,
had...
I mean, so down in Phoenix, too?
Well, here's the thing about it. The governor left it up to each city to do what they want if they want to put in
With
the mask
the mask
mandate
in the
mask
first place.
mandate, which is why
So why is he pulling the regulations,
which-
the restrictions now?
which Mayor Miles got in trouble for that,
Right.
Because she was forced to make that decision.
Right, but better point, then why is
No,
that
that's-
asshole
that-
standing up now and saying all restrictions are lifted?
Because,
Fuck you! Shouldn't it be the local communities that do that, sir?
Right. And like the fine mayor down in Tucson is just like, hell no, I'm keeping the mask mandate in place till I feel.
Douchey is such a fucking douchebag.
Well, it's pandering.
I know, but it's like, yeah, that is like some real ball sucking stuff, dude. I mean, give me a break, dude. How fucking low are you? I know people were mad at me before because of the whole mask thing, and then I made certain people have to wear masks, but now that we're rolling out the vaccines, who cares if these people, because and he's probably laughing his ass off at these people anyways behind his mask, being like, okay, well, if you don't want to get the vaccine and you're like anti-mask, anti-vax, and you die, like, do you think he gives a fuck? No. He doesn't give a fuck about the health and safety of the people in his state.
No, clearly not. Because if he waited till, say, May 1st to do this, when everybody has had the opportunity to get vaccinated.
Then I could see. If they want to go lifting restrictions, because I kind of feel the same way about the folks who are extremely anti-vaccine and anti-mask. I'm like, once I hear that the restrictions are lifted and everyone has had the opportunity, yeah, I'm not going to wear my mask because guess what? I got my vaccine.
I'm going to go get us another beer. Why don't you talk about what we're drinking today?
Okay, so we are drinking from, I think this says from Husk Brewing Company in Tempe, Arizona. It is the Papago Orange Blossom. It's a good one. And then the next one that we sampled, we're splitting all these, is the V Beauregard. It is from College Street Brewing in Havasu. Now, most people's favorite beer from College Street is Big Blue Fan. I say nay, nay, nay. I will take the V Beauregard every time. And you know why it's called V Beauregard? Because of my favorite movie. It's like, Violet, you're turning violet. Violet Beauregard.
And the movie would be?
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Not Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Okay, and the last one is?
And the last one is, so the guy at the store told me this too when I went to go buy this one. This is Dirty Head's Vacation, and it's a session ale brewed with pineapple. Now, Dirty Heads is a band.
Right.
I didn't know that because the guy's like, oh, he goes, you're getting this one? This one's really good. And he goes, are you a fan of the band? And I'm like, it's a band? I'm like, I just picked it up because I like the fruity and the sour beers, and it sounded really good. I love pineapple too. And he's like, no, it is a good beer. He's like, I ended up trying it because I'm a huge fan of the band. So I was like, I'm going to have to check out the band.
My nephew is a fan of that band.
It's reggae, right?
Yeah. Because
I think that's what the guy was telling me. He's like, I don't know if it's like a mix of reggae or just...
I haven't listened to it myself.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to have to listen to Dirty Heads, though.
God.
So cheers, MJ.
All right, cheers. All right, that's a good plug. We do enough sponsors. Well, we give enough commercials for products, but we don't have any sponsors. We gotta work
No.
on that.
That's why we're doing it for free for a little while.
Yeah.
Until you guys, if you want us to do commercials, we would be more than happy.
Yeah, because politics makes you drink.
Right? I know, no one likes talking about it, but did you think, like, maybe the reason why you don't like talking about it is because you don't have a nice, tasty brew next to you?
All three are good. I like this one, though. Yeah. What's the name of this one again?
This one is the Dirty Heads Vacation. It's a session ale brewed with pineapple. So we had pineapple, orange, and blueberry.
All right. We get our fruit intake, too. All right, so we lift the restrictions in Arizona. Yeah, great move. Which is going to lead to this. There's going to be probably another uptick in the cases again. And what that's going to lead to is people are going to cause stuff for this summer to get canceled, like concerts were going to come back.
They need to, like, there's been a lot of talk about what to do, like, with the whole proving you've been vaccinated and everything. And I agree with that. I'm like, I think that they should just have some sort of system where it can say, like, that you've been vaccinated, because I don't feel like that those of us who have been vaccinated should get punished for those of us who don't want to get it. I understand if you don't want to get it, then don't get it. But then it's like, can't I say the same thing to them? Then stay home. Like, yeah. Then now it's your turn to stay the fuck home. Because now that they've come out with a vaccine, they've done everything they can to combat this. If you still want to be an asshole, then yeah, don't fucking participate.
Yep. And your mom had a great line on that. Like, once everybody's had the opportunity, is just going maskless.
And let's not just quote, my mom was giving props. She's like, to quote your cousin Jimmy, which is my cousin. She goes, to quote Jimmy, once I've had the vaccine, once everyone has been given the opportunity to get the vaccine, and they tell us that we don't have to do the restrictions anymore, that we don't have to wear the masks, she said, I'm not wearing the mask. And to quote your cousin Jimmy, they can fucking die. Because like he had a hard time dealing with people like at the school that he worked with, and one of the kids there, their grandparents did not make it because of selfish people who wouldn't wear the masks. So he's like, fuck it. I'm sick and tired of listening to these people who will sit there and throw things in your face like, oh, it's a hoax, or I don't believe it, or whatever the thing is, the China flu, or the, whatever angle they're trying to use.
Oh yeah, then like the flu rate was down this winter, but that was because everybody was wearing masks.
I know, but somehow some of our friends, in quotations, friends in quotations, like to think that the flu just magically disappeared because now we have nothing but COVID. I'm like, really? Like, that's your logic? You don't suppose that the flu went down because the majority of us are wearing masks. So so people are keeping the flu to themselves. Huh?
I went out this morning to get donuts, and I forgot my mask, and it felt so odd, and I felt like I'm a terrible person because I forgot my mask, even though I was just running in and just grabbing donuts and getting out.
You're like, I've had my first shot, just so you know.
Right, which is 85% effective.
Right,
and then
right.
You go up to 90-something after the second shot. Not a doctor.
Oh, okay. I thought that 2 weeks after our first shot, you go to 50%.
No, it's like 80%.
And then Well, yeah, but we have to wait 4 weeks, so it's been longer. So yeah, our percentage would have gone up even more because now it's been our third week. Because next
So,
Saturday we get our final shot.
oh, cannot wait. Let's see, a couple more things. Did you see that ship in the Suez Canal that ran aground?
Mm-mm.
It's one of the biggest shipping container ships in the world. It's like the size of the Empire State Building. Well, anyway, the Suez Canal, although it is sort of wide, the ship is huge. So somehow it ran aground and became sideways, so it's now stuck there.
Why? What? Okay. Why did they try to take it through that area?
Well, it was operator error somehow.
Oh.
Because the ship would go through. It had plenty of room to go through, but somehow it got sideways. So the canal is as long as the ship is. So if the ship goes sideways, it's now blocking the entire canal, and it's the size of the Empire State Building. So this is causing a backup of one of the main canals for shipping, worldwide. $10 billion a day it's costing, and this has already been out there 6 days, and they say it could take several weeks to get this ship righted.
Holy
And I
crap.
guess there's a bunch of animals on the ship and stuff like that.
How sad.
So, God, talk about a bad day at work. Imagine being the commander of that boat and having that happen. I wonder what the liability is. They're losing $10 billion a day on shipping, which is in turn, it's going to make prices go up. Then people will blame Biden for that one too. Just like gas prices. So let's touch on that really quick.
Oh,
Gas
God.
prices are not determined by the president.
Right. As much as we wanted to blame Trump for them when he was in office, they're not determined by the president.
Yes, because we're opening stuff up. So now more people are traveling. So the supply and demand for gasoline goes up. So and hence the prices go up, which happens every year up until Memorial Day. And then it peaks and then it goes down again.
Yeah, because we're in spring break season. Like, not all spring breaks are the same week, but it always goes up around this time of year. Every single year. Even when, like, I forgot what I was going to say.
Did you get what happens?
Like, I had a complete brain fart, but I was like,
Not like we're scripted, but we're going to,
right. Well, and sometimes it's hard to, like, keep my train going. But no.
Yeah, no, so people automatically.
It's always this time of year. Because
Yeah.
I've
Every
noticed
year.
that, like, don't they go up too a little during the holiday?
Yeah.
Except for when it's like that, there's like that in between time, like right after the holidays,
Right.
like the main ones, like the end of the year ones, and then Christmas, New Year's. And then in between that and when spring break goes, they usually go down a little. And then they start going back up when it's getting close to like March. So if you
Well-
want to start hoarding gas, do it like in January and February. Okay?
Well, and why wouldn't people cheer that on? Because isn't that capitalism at its finest? Supply and demand.
Right. I thought we lived in a capitalist society.
Just like hotel prices go
What
up
do you-
during.
Do you want the gas prices to stay the same for everyone?
Wouldn't that be
What?
wouldn't that be socialism if you're trying to tell the corporations what they can't charge?
I know. We can't go for that stuff, folks.
Huh. Okay, I guess we'll end it on this. Pandas. How do you feel about pandas?
I like pandas. Are they still on the extinct list?
Yeah. Well, endangered.
The
I
endangered
think.
species?
Yeah.
Or, I
Well,
mean,
well-
they're on the endangered species because they could possibly go extinct, right?
Right, and aren't they usually just so cute and cuddly? They are. At least they seem like they are.
Well, I don't know, because I thought that about polar bears, but I heard that they're really mean. Like, oh, so I don't want to go try to pet a polar bear. Okay.
Well, the thing about pandas, the reason why that they're numbers don't go up even though they're endangered is because they're so lazy and they sit around and eat all day and they don't want to have sex with each other.
Right. Yeah, I heard that that there was something weird about their mating. I didn't know it was like just sheer laziness.
Yeah. You would think about that be a reason to get out of bed in the morning.
That sounds like one of my exes.
put down the food and
Long time ago, ex. Like long time ago.
well, in a Belgian zoo, I guess pandas aren't so cute and cuddly because a panda named Tian Bei, a 4-year-old panda, attacked one of the caretakers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the caretakers was going down this hallway, and I guess they left a little gate open that the panda uses to travel the little hallway to get back to its enclosure. And the panda attacked him.
Oh.
Now, how often do you hear pandas attacking anything? You're too lazy to have sex. But you're
Maybe
gonna
he
go
wanted
attack a guy?
food. Well, yeah, but if he's too lazy to have sex because he just wants to sit around and eat all day, maybe he fucking attacked him because he was trying to get some food. Like, if that's what his motive is, he's like, my main motive in life is food. It's not like I was attacking you because you were trying to fucking date my girlfriend. I could give a shit. I just want to eat all day.
Where was the good guy in the gun to stop that one? Oh, good, because a Belgian zoo.
Oh yeah,
They must have restricted gun laws
probably
there.
have. They probably have like regulations in their country.
Notice we don't have many panda attacks in America. I don't think we have many pandas in America, though.
Hey, I just thought of something. If people are always bragging about that whole well-regulated thing, I thought they were the party that hated regulations. Well-regulated. Wouldn't that be a regulation?
Yeah.
Like, but they're the people who hate regulations.
I don't know.
When it comes to like protections, they hate them.
That zoo should have had better regulations on not letting caretakers into the enclosure without making sure the door was closed.
Or yeah, they should have made. Damn, I bet you won't fucking forget to lock that gate next time. Just kidding.
Just pandas being pandas.
Well, they're a wild animal, though. Still, I mean, you can't really like trust that just because they look all cute and cuddly. I don't know though. They got those dark circles around their eyes. You never know.
Or there's that one that I think it was at the San Diego Zoo that the guy took his 2-year-old and jumped into the elephant enclosure. And then the elephant started charging, and so the guy picked up his kid and was trying to run towards the exit, and he dropped his kid. They got out all right, but collectively it was stupid.
How do they not know that you don't go in the animal enclosures? How are people that stupid? Like, they have the walk path out there. Do they have to put a sign up for every fucking moron?
Apparently so.
I mean, you know how, like, when you look at a bottle of bleach and it says, do not drink, did someone at some point say, I'm going to try to drink some bleach. This might be delicious. It smells good.
We did have a certain commander-in-chief who said it might help the coronavirus if you injected it.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, clearly, he has never read a bottle of bleach or, looked at. He's probably never used it. I mean, hello, he's probably got, like, I'm sure he's never cleaned a thing a day in his life,
No, he's always applying stuff, not taking it off.
Right. Right. He should use some of that bleach on his face. Like, maybe rub some bleach on your face, sir, to get rid of some of the orange. Like, tone the orange down a little.
Did you see where he sat down 4 people because the Ohio Senate seat is up in 2022? So the 4 candidates, Republican candidates, he flew them all down to Florida and sat them down, apprentice style, so they could kiss his ring and see who wins his endorsement.
Oh, it's not a surprise. Dude, I watched the documentary last night. It's called #Unfit. And it's about Trump. And it's all, like, psychologists in the movie saying, discussing on whether he is even fit to be president. And yeah, they talk about how he's like a malignant narcissist. and they're talking about how like most politicians are narcissists, but I mean a malignant narcissist is like a very extreme narcissist, like also psychopathic too. I mean psychopathic, sociopathic.
We're never going to get rid of him, are we? It's just going to stick around.
I know.
And the Republicans would probably be smart to
And they keep
distance
buying,
themselves.
they keep buying the new flags. Like they're buying new flags all the time.
2024?
They're putting up new flags, and I'm like, and it's poor fucking people. And you're like, dude, why are you wasting your money on that? Look at your house. Look what you live in. You've got garbage all over your fucking yard. You don't even pay for garbage pickup at your house, but you're gonna really? Why are you wasting your money on a guy that wouldn't fucking piss on you if you were on fire? Why? It's sad.
I guess we'll leave you with this. Watched this movie the other night on Apple Plus. It's Cherry, starring Tom Holland from the new Spider-Man movies.
I still gotta watch it.
And it's made by the Russo brothers, who directed the last two Avengers movies. And it's just really good. It's about somebody from a low-income situation, and he goes off to fight the Iraq War, and the PTSD he suffers when he gets back, and what that leads to. Really good movie.
Yeah.
Tom Holland should get an Oscar nomination for that one.
Oscar nomination.
So
It's kind of hard to do Oscars. Like, I mean, we'll nominate stuff because I don't even know what the Oscar nominated films are.
either do I.
Like, I usually like to watch them so I can pick which one I thought should have won.
But we haven't really had movies this year. I did watch the Grammy Awards, and that was really well done.
I didn't watch that.
Yeah, the big one in that was the Cardi B WAP song.
Cardi B.
You know that song?
I like Cardi B.
Which it's a terrible song, but the performance was great. But anyway, there was a lot of sexual innuendo and stripper poles and
That's what Cardi B is,
two girls
dude.
grinding on each other. But that goes to everybody. I called this one. I nailed it. As I was updating my Facebook, I was live, doing it live, making posts. And I'm like, Tucker Carlson is going to be outraged by this and tied into the Pepe Le Pew cancel culture because they're going to want Cardi B canceled. They'll be like, "Whoop."
I thought they didn't want to cancel people, though.
Well, right. That's hypocritical.
Then if you're so against cancel culture, don't try to go out there and fucking cancel others, assholes.
Remember when they we went down to Laughlin to watch the Super Bowl, and that was the one with Shakira and J-Lo? And everybody was outraged by that. When that one wasn't that bad. That was just shaking her hips, but who didn't expect Shakira to shake her hips?
How did they not see
Right. And
whenever, wherever, or whatever the song is?
Right. And Cardi B, people know what they're getting with Cardi B. And Trevor Noah made a joke. And I might have to paraphrase it because I don't remember the exact nature, but he said, coming up next, we have Cardi B. And if you have any small kids, you might want to tell them that WAP means a cat that fell in the bathtub. But he was clearly, what you're getting. Trevor Noah gave the disclaimer beforehand, but you're outraged that kids are going to see it.
Like, what? I don't understand how stupid people are. Didn't Cardi B, before she was a rapper, she was a stripper. So why is her having a stripper pole and all that an outrage to them? I don't understand. Who cares? And who cares? Men pay to go see that. Who gives a fuck? I'm so sick and tired of men bitching about stuff that they fucking like.
Well, it doesn't even have to be Shakira shaking her hips or Cardi B grinding up against another girl. When Beyonce did her Super Bowl halftime, she came out dressed as a Black Panther, and she got crap for that. So Republicans are just as much into the cancel culture as...
They're just mad because all of these women are women of color. That's why they're fucking outraged. That's what it is. Because we've already seen a lot of this stuff with Madonna. And, like, Madonna took shit, like, right when it happened, but everybody got over it, like, real quick. So, okay, throw your little tantrums, say what you're going to say, and then please shut the fuck up. Because you have the right, because, yeah, you have free speech. All right, throw your tantrum, and then shut up. You fucking hypocrites.
And you know what? If we wouldn't have talked about it, Cardi B would have gotten any recognition about it. I will bet her song got a lot of downloads.
I bet
that week.
It's like you're only doing her a favor.
And,
That's what they don't get.
If you're that outraged about it, I'll bet everybody was flocking to YouTube, or they were probably showing it on Fox News.
Right?
Fox News probably shows. They showed this on the Grammys and then showed it.
She's probably... Cardi B, just go laugh yourself all the way to the bank. Just be like, thank you for showing it more and more.
The same thing happened with Janet Jackson when Justin Timberlake grabbed the dress, and the nip slip. And I was watching it, and I didn't even notice at the time. I didn't notice it till the next day when it was all over the news, and they kept on showing it over and over and over again.
Crazy.
Crazy world we live in. Anyway, I don't think we're going to change any minds on anything here, on anything that we're going to create any conversations at all about any of this stuff.
Nope.
But, yeah,
I wish I knew how, because then I would, try my best, but...
Could you imagine if people listened to this podcast and they sat down and started having real conversations?
No.
No,
I can't imagine it. No, I really can't. Like the.
Oh, you thought we got hate mail before? After the newspaper article, would get a shit ton of fucking hate over this one. Even though we didn't really say anything too controversial here, we just said that we should have conversations.
I don't think any of those people listen to us, anyways.
No.
So.
But hey, all we're saying was having conversations about gun control. Just looking to the literal, black and white.
But yeah, let's have conversations. Then you guys will bring your ideas to the table. Since you're always like so adamant about, no, you're not infringing on my Second Amendment, then you tell us some solutions. We'd like to listen. I'm open to listen. Like, what are your solutions then? Because there's a large percentage of Republicans who are for gun control too. The reasonable gun control. Then let's talk about it. What's reasonable?
Well, now's not the time to talk about it. I don't know. But, just... yeah, how come they want to make it hard to vote, like show multiple forms of ID, but you can just go in and go buy a gun? Why is that? Oh.
I don't know. It's a mystery that'll never be solved.
Maybe we need more pandas to help us like control things.
The whole phrase of "now's not the time to talk about it" reminds me of, and I'm hoping this isn't the outcome, folks, but it reminds me of when I was a kid and I kept telling my mom when we moved from my old neighborhood over to Glendale, because I used to live in Phoenix, and then we had to move to Glendale. And I was like, Mom, when are you going to sign me up for my dance classes? Now's not the time to talk about it. Now's not the time. And I kept begging her. And even today, to this day, I go, if you would have only moved me over to my new dance studio, I would be dancing on Broadway by now. But guess what? It never happened. I don't know. Maybe this is one of those things that is like Snow's dance class. It's never going to happen.
It reminds me of whenever I wanted something and my mom, hey, can we go to Benson's Animal Farm? And my mom would say, we'll see. And we'll see always means no.
Yeah, that one too. That's another one. We'll see. We'll see means don't bother me about it right now or ever.
So, will this create a conversation? We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see you on the next episode, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.